What is up, Soul Fam? It's Sandal from Substance Over Star, and welcome to a new video. Let me just play with this a little bit more. Just want it a little bit brighter. Okay, cool. Yeah, so today I want to talk about why do nice guys finish last. So this was inspired by a conversation I had with a friend the other day. I've got quite a few guy friends who tend to have a lot of problems with women. And the thing that I've noticed from my study of like polarity and universal laws is that a lot of the time this comes from, so the typical nice guy will generally be a guy who kind of puts women first, respects women, you know, holds them in high esteem, you know, respects them sexually as well, doesn't objectify them, meets their needs, he's in touch with his emotions and all of that kind of stuff. Everything that women say that they want, right? So why does this guy have so many problems with women? And why does he often end up in relationships with women who are controlling, who are nasty, who are manipulative, who maybe might tend to be verbally abusive? There seems to be a common problem amongst nice guys, or they just get friend zoned and they can't get the girl that they really want. Now, my perspective on this is that it's not nice guys that women want at all. You know, like generally out of balance women will typically go after, you know, the typical bad boy, but high value women who are truly embodied in their feminine energy and balanced and conscious and looking for a higher value male aren't looking for nice guys. And I'll tell you why. We're looking for good men. And there's a difference, and I'm going to go into the difference. So a typical nice guy is a guy who tends to be a lot more right brain and balanced. Now, if you missed my video on the incel revolution and the socially conditioned alpha, you can watch that video. So check that out, because I talk a lot about, like, you know, left brain, right brain, masculine, feminine. And a lot of incels tend to be in their wounded feminine, in their toxic feminine. I also did another video on the toxic feminine, which you can watch, and I'll post a link there. So definitely give those both a watch. And what tends to happen when you're in wounded feminine energy is, as you start to heal, you swing the pendulum the other way. So that's what's happening with incels is, you know, they're a typical nice guy, you know, they're very like a socially conditioned beta male. They are in right brain imbalance, they're way too feminine energy. So generally they have wounds around their masculinity, because we live in a left brain imbalanced society, in a society that historically has praised and held masculine traits in much higher esteem than feminine traits. And so a lot of men, especially if they cannot be the alpha, their bodies will actually release a smaller amount of testosterone. So, you know, it's a survival tactic that they will be the beta and support the alpha. And that basically makes them more feminine in nature. So they have more feminine traits and more feminine qualities. And typically women aren't attracted to men who, now women, a high value self-realized woman will go after a man who is connected with his feminine. He needs to embody the divine feminine principles of care and compassion so that his masculine can move forward with right action, which is a masculine trait. However, he cannot be more feminine than her. He cannot go into right brain imbalance. She needs to feel like she can be the feminine energy partner. Now, what does it mean for a guy to be a good man? And still, you know, be connected with his feminine energy, but still embody more of the masculine energy. So generally, when a woman is fully embodied in her power, She is the one that holds her standards and her boundaries for what she seeks in a mate, and she sets the standard for acceptable male behavior. Now, when a large proportion of women are out of balance in their toxic feminine energy, that throws the masculine into their left brain imbalance and toxic masculinity, which I talked about in that video on the toxic feminine. And this is why I say that this is some of the greatest work that we as women can do to truly balance these energies, because we can literally change the world with this work. When she holds her standards and her boundaries, she holds him up to a higher moral standard. And this was always the case. Excuse me, I think my camera's not focusing properly. Okay, anyway, let me continue. This was always the case in a lot of indigenous cultures and in hunter-gatherer societies, that it was the women who had that connection to the earth, to the rhythms of the earth, because they were much more spiritually attuned and had a deep understanding of natural laws. They were the ones that would keep the men in balance. They would tell them when they were overfishing, overhunting, overfarming, or whatever it is that they do for the survival of the tribe or the community. It was the women, and the men would, because they were balanced, they would respect the women's guidance, because, and you know, a smart man always knows that you must respect the guidance and the standards and the boundaries of a woman, because ultimately it's her favor that you're trying to win. This is something that my grandfather, who was a very smart man, and my grandparents had a very long, stable and happy marriage until he passed away some years ago. He always used to say, never fight with a woman, because you know, you'll always lose. Even if you win the argument, you'll lose later in the bedroom. And not to be crude, but this is the femininity that men seek to balance them out, to balance out their masculine energy. It's this the sensuality, the sexual energy, the life force of the woman that helps to heal him. So where was I going with this? Yeah, so when she is fully embodied and has her masculine boundaries and masculine courage to speak her truth through the throat chakra, which again is masculine, she's balanced in her masculinity and her femininity, she calls in a man who holds that same vibration. So when she has her standards and her boundaries around you know, the type of moral standards that she holds him up to. So like, for example, with me, for the last few years since I went vegan, I have never been interested in dating a man who eats animals. That's just a boundary and a standard that I hold for myself. It's something that I do not morally agree with, and I just find it a turn off. And I don't want somebody who's putting, you know, that kind of fear-based and energy and torture and, you know, just all of that low vibrational shit into their temple, because if they're putting that into their temple is profane. Like, it's not sacred, it's not a sacred space, and it's not coming anywhere near my goddess temple. That's how you preserve the sanctity of your goddess temple, by making sure that whatever man comes and enters within you, he's also purified and holding the same vibration that you hold for yourself as a fully embodied woman who embodies divine feminine energy. So it's always about balancing these two energies, and that is the very important difference between the nice guy and the good man. The good man still has his own boundaries and his own standards. He holds the woman in high esteem, but he doesn't bend over backwards to meet all of her needs just because he wants to get access to the P, because he also has an abundance mindset. When it comes to women, he knows if not this woman, then another woman, because he's connected to his own feminine or divine feminine principle of care and compassion, and he has those standards and boundaries, the same moral standards and boundaries that she holds for him, he holds for himself. So it's not about, you know, him doing that in order to seek her validation. He just embodies that frequency himself. Okay, so I think I've covered it all. If you would like me to answer your question, then please send me a DM on Instagram. That's the best way to contact me. And if you would like any personal guidance for your specific situation, then I can also be available for sessions. So also you can contact me via Instagram. So thanks for watching, guys. I will love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next video. One love.
You're introduced to LSD, and unless you've taken some other drug, like for instance like marijuana or something, well, you know, it's an altogether new thing, and you actually can have a religious experience